Burning Milpa. In March, the Indians began to burn their milpas. All through the bush, tall fires shot up and black columns of smoke rose to meet the sky. Smoke hung in low clouds over the village, at times shutting out the sun. The heat in the village was like an oven, and great winds roared every afternoon, the Milpa winds to burn the cornfield. The people went about their work calmly, choking in the smoke, blinking with reddened, smarting eyes. It was March weather, Milpa weather. The smoke and high winds excited Tigre, though other years he had taken them for granted. He was restless and could hardly keep his mind on his lessons. One afternoon, after school, he went to one of the ancient temples in the bush near the village and climbed the crumbling stones to the top of the pyramid. Below him the bush stretched out as far as he could see, waving treetops rolling endlessly to the horizon. Even the village and his home, so short a distance away, was only a narrow indentation in the deep, and here and there the surface of the bush was broken by the flames and gushing smoke of Milpa fires. It reminded him of a picture in one of Don Alfonso's books, of a boat in a sea of waves, and long streamers of smoke blown backward by the wind from a thick black funnel. He counted 23 fires toward the north and south and east. The sun was so bright he could not look long toward the west, but he thought there would be another 8 or 9 fires there. His heart quickened. Each column of smoke meant fire burning someone's cornfield, men working in the winds and flames. His field, too, was there in the bush below, waiting to be burned. For a long time he stood there. Then he walked home slowly. I counted 23 burnings today, he told father. Everyone is burning. Patuch's father says the rain will come early this year. Perhaps, father said. The dry season began very early. It may be the rainy season will begin early too, though the Cho Kenob, the count of the days, which foretells weather, says this will be a dry year. Tigre waited, but as father said nothing more, he asked, When shall I burn our Milpa, father? Soon, Tigre. I have sent for your uncle. Today, by a traveling merchant, he sent us word. He will come on Saturday to help you with the burning. Tigre's face fell. He turned away to hide his disappointment. On Saturday he got up before daylight. He brought in the wood and gathered ramon leaves and helped Concha feed and water the goats. But 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock passed, and his uncle did not come. He has been delayed, mother said. There is yet time. He will still come. The hours went by. All day they waited, but Uncle Pedro did not come. On Sunday the winds were high, but the sky was cloudy. We cannot wait, father said. Any day the manhache, the strong March rain, will come. Do you think you can burn our field, Tigre? Of course, Tigre said quickly. Father put his hand on Tigre's shoulder and looked anxiously into his son's eyes. It is a big work. You have the will, but the experience is lacking. It will not be easy. Remember to cut your burning stick from the katzim tree. Scatter your offering of pozole. Remember your whistle for the whirlwind, and stay back of the wind. The wind gods will help you, father said. Mother handed Tigre his hat. Her hands lingered as she hung his bag across his shoulder. Be careful, she said. Concha went with Tigre to the road. She waved as long as he was in sight, but Tigre did not look back. When he reached the field, the high winds of early morning had died down. On the still air insects hummed. Yellow daisies, motionless as painted flowers between the brush hills, spotted the field. Tigre stood at the edge of the milpa, looking at the piles of brush, brittle as matchwood, waiting, he thought, for his fire. His early morning confidence died away. Suppose the winds did not hear his whistle, or refused to answer his call. Slowly he made his preparations. With hesitant fingers, he cut his burning stick and frayed it at one end to catch and hold the fire. He scattered pozole. Save yourselves, tortoises, he called. Then, his heart beating madly, he lit the fire stick and touched the first pile with fire. The fire caught quickly. It crackled like rockets in the quiet air. Smoke drifted lazily upward from the brush. Tigre touched a second pile, a third. Smoke was all around him now. He could not see the nearest brush heap or fallen tree. His eyes smarted, and he blinked back tears and fought to keep his eyes open against the heat and smoke. He began to whistle, uncertainly at first, then stronger, surer, the whistle of the milpa, as his people had whistled it through the centuries, calling the wind gods to come and carry the fire. Heat burned his face, his arms, his feet through the thin soles of his sandals. Smoke bit his throat and lungs. But he moved through the smoke, and moving always with him was the plaintive whistle, now rising in a fierce, windy screaming, now slowing and dying away in a wind-like sigh. And the wind gods came. With a roar, the wind swept down upon the milpa. They picked up the flames and carried them running and leaping from pile to pile over the field. Great joy filled Tigre. All through the brush, he thought, men are burning as I am burning. He began to shout, his voice hoarse in the smoke-filled spaces. The winds had come. He had called them, and they had come in answer to his whistle. He was working with fire and wind and with the gods. An hour later, the winds died down, the heat lessened, the smoke settled. Tigre looked over his milpa. A coarse gray ash lay over the field, with little flames still playing here and there. Here and there, charred stumps of trees had survived the fire. His eyelashes were singed, his face was burned, his clothing soiled, his shirt torn, but his heart was full. A good burn, he said. All the way home, the knowledge was like a song. Mother saw him coming and ran to meet him. "Ay, Tigre," she said. "Your face, your clothes, your hair." Tigre shrugged impatiently and went into the house. Father gave him a long look of understanding. "A good burn, son?" "A good burn," Tigre said.